Minecraft's enchanting system sucks. There's just so many enchantments, a lot of which are completely boring and none of which even have descriptions. Like, how am I supposed to know what any of these do? You need to re-roll like 100 times just to get the correct enchantments that you want. As for some items, there can be upwards of 7 different enchantments. And using an anvil costs so much that at some point it'll just say too expensive and stop working. It just sucks. If only there was someone who could make it better. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. You see, I am making my own fully custom Minecraft map. And a part of it being fully custom means that there are custom weapons. So I had the bright idea of making custom enchantments for these items. And that is something very possible to do on newer versions of the game, as enchantments are now fully data-driven. But if I'm going to go through all the trouble of making custom enchantments, I'm going to do it right. So strap in, folks, because it's time for another HOA devlog. The first step to making the enchanting system better is to figure out what it does right. Which, I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? If I'm going to improve the system, I need to look at the best that the system can offer to see what standard to hold it to. And while, like I said before, there's a lot of really boring enchantments here that just increase your damage or your defense, there still are a lot of really well-designed enchantments in the game. The best example that I can give of this is Riptide. This is an enchantment that fundamentally changes how you use tridents in the game, and it being incompatible with things like loyalty balances it. It offers a completely unique dynamic for how you use a trident besides just throwing it, as it turns this ranged weapon into a tool for movement. And well, come to think of it, enchantments that allow the player more movement are usually very well designed. And there are other notable enchantments that improve the player's movement, such as Swift Sneak, Depth Strider, and Soul Speed. The second category of enchantments are ones that improve weapons in a way that isn't just a flat damage number increase. This includes things like Flame, Sweeping Edge, and Multi-Shot. This isn't just limited to weapons, it can also be for armor, for example with Respiration. And the last category of enchantments are ones that I'm going to call resource gathering enchantments. This includes Fortune, as well as Lure and Luck of the Sea. And while it may seem contradictory to my previous statements, I am including Efficiency as being one of these. Yes, I get it that increasing mining speed is just a flat increase to a stat. But honestly, it gets a pass just because I don't think I could live without it. So we know what to include and what to cut. And so now I think I'm ready to come up with ideas for what to add. But before that, we need to address how to obtain these enchantments. You see, I hate enchanting tables as they currently work. And the biggest reason for that is because it's just so random. If I want looting, for example, I need to re-roll multiple times until the game finally gives me what I want. Which is a lot more frustrating and time-consuming and just overall tedious unnecessarily than a system that would allow me to pick and choose what enchantments that I want. Now the game sort of does have something like that with enchanted books, but this runs into a new problem. The best way to get enchanted books is from librarians. So if I don't get what I want, then I need to reset the village restraints until I get the intended enchantment. Like, why do I ever need Curse of Binding? Why does it even sell this? So if the enchanting table is a flawed method, and enchanted books are a flawed method, what am I left with? Introducing Enchantment Scrolls. This is an item that will store an enchantment for you, which you can then place onto the item in an enchanting table. And the best part about it is that they're very easy to get. Each of them have their own crafting recipe. And while some of them are a little bit harder than others, I still really like this system a lot for two big reasons. First reason is because it just feels more interactive for the player to seek out different items that befit the enchantment. And the second reason is because it gives me a greater amount of control as to which enchantments players will have at certain parts of progression. If I believe an enchantment is stronger, then I'm going to add items that will be found later in the map to craft it. And as you can see here, I already have a lot of scrolls. And so, with no more waiting, let's get into all the enchantment scrolls. First of all, the enchantments that were not changed at all from vanilla. This includes Sweeping Edge, Efficiency, Silk Touch, Fortune, Quick Charge, Riptide, Loyalty, Breach, Windburst, Lure, Luck of the Sea, Respiration, Thorns, Swift Sneak, Feather Falling, and Frostwalker. And then there's the enchantments from vanilla that have been changed in some way. Fire Aspect no longer lights mobs on fire. Instead, it now does extra damage to enemies that are aflame. This increases 10% per level, maxing out at level 3. Both Flame and Affinity have the same change. Flame no longer guarantees that the arrow is set on fire. It goes up to level 3, at which you have a 50% chance of having your arrow on fire. And Affinity, similarly, only gives a 50% chance at level 3 for your arrows to not be consumed. Both Piercing and Multi-Shot have the same changes, that they can both now be applied to a bow. Channeling is no longer weather-based, instead being random chance. It has a 10% chance per level, maxing out at level 3. And finally, Depth Strider is not a boots enchantment, but rather a leggings enchantment now. And those are all of the vanilla enchantments explained. Now it's time for the real new stuff. Melee is a new enchantment for swords and axes that gives you a chance to apply slowness on an enemy. The chance of this happening is 10% per level, maxing out at level 3. Similarly is Thunderstorm, which gives a 10% per level chance to strike lightning on the enemy. And Predator, which has 1 level and gives you speed and invisibility for a couple seconds upon killing an enemy. Longhaft is an enchantment for all tools, which increases your block interaction range, allowing you to mine blocks from further away. Rebar Puncher is a new enchantment for crossbows. It will increase your arrow's damage, however, it consumes iron ingots to work. Water Aspect is a new enchantment for tridents. Like Fire Aspect, it increases your damage by up to 30%, but this time when the target is in water or rain. Overkill is an enchantment for the mace, which gives you a slight chance to instantly kill what you're attacking when you perform a plunging attack. Concussion is another mace enchantment. This time, you apply Stun when you perform a plunging attack. This stun lasts for up to 3 seconds at level 3. Serrations is an enchantment for your fishing rod that turns it into a weapon. Reeling in your line applies the new status effect, Bleed. Similarly, Hotline will apply Burning to a target at the end of your line. However, it has a different effect, that it will automatically cook whatever fish that you catch. Pooling is an enchantment for stabs. It gives a chance to not consume magic charges when casting a spell. 10% chance per level, maxing out at level 3. Spellfare is an enchantment with only 1 level. It will increase your magic damage when at max magic charges. This boost is 25%. Hocus Pocus is an enchantment for stabs, which gives your spells a chance to inflict a random status effect. It can apply either slowness, weakness, wither, or bleed. Again, 10% chance per level, maxing out at level 3. Overclock is a staff enchantment that's a bit risky. You recharge 2 magic charges at once, but take fire damage in the process. Similarly, there's Blood Scrawl, which allows you to cast magic when your charges are depleted at the cost of health. Now these next 4 enchantments I'm not gonna show for now, but you can probably guess what kind of item they're for. Heatseek is a helmet enchantment that allows you to highlight enemies through walls when you sneak. The radius for this increases in size per level, maxing out at level 3. Clear-Sighted is an enchantment for helmets that both gives immunity to blindness, as well as granting night vision during nighttime. Brainiac is a helmet enchantment that simply gives you +1 magic charge. Spellbark is an enchantment for chestplates that gives knockback resistance up to 50% at level 3. Barrier is a chestplate enchantment that heavily decreases the next instance of damage taken. Higher levels decrease the cooldown, being only 15 seconds at level 3. Adrenaline is an enchantment that increases the player's attack speed when at low health. This boost is 25% below 50% health. Acrobatics is a leggings enchantment that increases your jump height when you're crouching. With this, you can easily scale up 3-block walls. Evasion is a leggings enchantment that gives a slight chance to deflect arrows that are shot at you. This is a 5% chance per level, maxing out level 3. Double Jump is my personal favorite. This is an enchantment for your boots that, well, gives you a double jump. Combine this with Acrobatics to make parkour an ease. And finally, Footwork is a boots enchantment that gives immunity to slowness and makes you walk at a normal speed on terrain like Soul Sand. It's basically just a slightly reworked version of Soul Speed. And there you go, there's every enchantment. Minus a few. And that alone took quite a lot of work, but I'm not done yet. The enchanting table is still a broken and flawed system, and so I still need to fix that. My idea currently is to have some sort of dialogue tree using in-game chat, but I haven't made a system like that in, 2 years. But surely I still remember how to do it, right? Okay, I've been working on this for the past few hours, and it's finally in a pretty good state. So first of all, when I place down an enchanting table, it has this interaction entity on it. When I left click, it gives me a pop-up saying if I want to destroy the enchanting table, and you click confirm to do that. But when you right click, it says hold the enchantment scroll you wish to apply and click confirm. Now if I'm not holding an enchantment scroll, it'll yell at me. This item is not an enchantment scroll. So let me give myself, let's say, melee, thunderstorm, and just to show this off, fire aspect. So when I select melee, it says enchantment scroll melee selected. And now let's say I'm holding an item that is not compatible with melee, and I click this. It says incompatible item. And if I do it with an item that can't be enchanted, it'll say that. But when I do it with the sword, item enchanted, this now has melee level 1. And the cool thing about that is, if I do it again, enchantment level increased to 2. Now it's melee 2, because this is a max level 3. I can also put Thunderstorm on it, and I have Thunderstorm 1 and melee 2. And now here's the interesting part. If I try to apply Fire Aspect, item already has the maximum amount of enchantments. To keep things interesting, you can only apply 2 enchantments to 1 item. And I think this system of opportunity cost is great. It cuts out the need to have, 7 or 8 enchantments on 1 item, and then you get the too expensive message, like I said earlier, that sucks. And it really makes you think about what you want to put in your item. If I put Quick Charge and Rebar Puncher on this crossbow, well then I miss out on an infinity. So choosing what enchantments you do and do not want to be in your weapon is part of the battle. Also didn't show, if you are already at max level and you try to put on another one, it'll say it's already at max level. Here I have an entire array of every enchantment in the game and what the max level is. For most of them it's 3, for some of them it's 1, and for specifically Frostwalker it's 2. There it is. But god, I love this system. It's so cool, it's so clean, it does it correctly. Also, if you're not in creative mode, it will, of course, consume the scroll that you're using. So there you go, there's the enchantment table, completely reworked. And that is all I got for this devlog. I hope you enjoyed watching it, because oh my god, I definitely enjoyed making it. Making this map is honestly the most fun I've ever had playing Minecraft. And I'm just glad to have an audience along the ride. Make sure to put any ideas for enchantments you have down in the comments so that I can completely ignore them because your idea probably sucks.